Hey, what's up, my beautiful people? It's your boy Devo, some motivational, back with another day trading spy recap. And really, today is gonna be just a market review because I didn't have no trade today. Um, I wasn't really. I was a little busy doing other stuff, um, working on my car today, and just doing a little bit of other stuff. So I was still kind of looking at the markets, but I wasn't really in the moment to kind of trade. I wasn't really at my desk and just sitting down with my computer. And so it's just going to be a little market review going over what happened, our pump, why we potentially had this pump, and then I'm going to go over what we can see going into tomorrow. Okay, so today shouldn't really be too much of a long one. I don't want to hold you guys up. So let's get straight into it, okay? Oh, real quick, I almost forgot. Thank you for everyone who's following me with the journey. Thank you for all the views, the likes, the comments. It really means everything to me. I really appreciate every single one of y'all who are with me and sticking with me through the journey. And remember, this is just the beginning. And my goal is to make sure to be able to teach y'all something and to get us all paid, okay? And so, real quick, let's just go into our first thing, which is the earnings, okay? So remember yesterday I told you about how we were going to have earnings today and it could potentially move the markets. Well, what did we have? We had Google earnings, and Google blew it out the water, right? 12% growth. Their estimates was 2.02. Not sure exactly like 2.02 what, but 2.02, and then actually reported was 2.81, right? So 79 cents above. Surprised 39.1%. So they pretty much just totally blew it out the water. Okay. Um, they yeah, and that's really what I felt like really pumped the market. Okay, because today we actually had some not so good news, and so but I feel like this is what actually helped give the market some optimism, helped give people optimism because Google, we know, is AI, right? And so if we see that companies, so that's really what was scaring people away because the tariffs and with the tariffs, they these earnings weren't expected to be as good, right? Because with all the tariffs and the higher prices and things over with other countries and how we were going to get products from other countries and just like stuff like that, inflation going up, we weren't. I felt like the big boys weren't too like convinced and sold that we were going to have good earnings, right? And so that is what gave the market optimism because Google blew the earnings out of the water. And so we have a lot more earnings coming later on in the week. Not this week, but later on, like next week and the week after, we have more earnings. And so this is what really gave the market optimism for other companies, right? So if they see that Google blew the earnings out of the water, we can see potentially we could potentially see Meta do good on earnings. So you see what I'm saying? So it just gave the market optimism on potential on growth still throughout the market, just showing that the AI race is still leading, that these companies are still making money regardless of what's going on. So that's what I really feel like gave us optimism to get this massive pump from. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna yeah. Let me go to the 5 minute. Jesus Christ. Excuse me. So that's what I feel like really gave us the optimism to pump from 535 all the way up to 546. Excuse me. So because let me just reiterate it, I really feel like we had this pump because I told y'all yesterday that we had good Google earnings that we could see a pump, right? And we had Google blow it out the water. So that gave retail and the big boys optimism for other companies to do well as well. You see what I'm saying? Because with all the tariffs and the higher inflation, they were expecting that earnings weren't going to be as good because they were expecting companies to start losing some money, right? But we're seeing that Google's Q1 earnings were really good, so that just gave them optimism for the other companies and just for the overall market, okay? And we know on top of the good news where Trump said that he is working out a deal with China, which is awesome, right? Once that China deal gets worked out, we will see even bigger pump, right? It's along with the Fed rate cuts, right? But what did we get today? Well, so China actually said that the U.S. and them haven't been talking. So that is the bad news that came out early in the morning. So I expected us to actually get like a some type of down move. Okay. Sorry, my good people. Sorry, my good people. Stay with me. I want to pull up this economic calendar because also what I have to show y'all is because I also showed y'all this yesterday. The initial jobless claims, our initial jobless claims, it was previous 216K, consensus was 222K, and it came in actual 222K. So it was just on, right on expected, basically. Expected 222K. It was consensus around all the analysts and people like that across the economy, and it came out. Excuse me. 222K. So the jobless claims can be good or bad, right? Because you want to have a little balance of it. If it comes out, if jobless claims come out pretty high, that means the Fed can come. That means rate cuts can start to itch faster, right? Because if people are losing money, I mean if people don't have jobs, and that means inflation can come down. If people aren't spending as much because they don't have jobs, that means inflation can come down, and when inflation comes down, that means the Fed can cut the rates, right? But you don't want too high of unemployment, right? Because that is just not good. That means no money is getting put into the economy, right? If I don't have a job, you don't have a job, and everybody don't have a job, that means there's no money into the economy. So that means these companies don't make money, right? That's why you always kind of want a little balance of it, right? But so 222K, I feel like that possibly also fed into the pump, right? Because like I just said, with a little bit higher unemployment, that means inflation can come down, and that means that's closer to rate cuts, right? So this could also be some good news, along with the earnings. This is what really like gave the market optimism for us to get. Sorry about that. Not the pump today because this came out after markets, but this is what gave the aftermarkets pump because aftermarkets we've pumped from. Let's look at it. So market open. Excuse me, good people. Yeah. So okay. Market open. Pre-markets. Let's look at the pre-markets real quick. So pre-markets and videos at 103. Tesla at 250. So that's where we were at pre-markets, right? And then the SPY started off at. Sorry about that. SPY started off at this 535 area, right? Started right near our support, right? And I didn't get a trade in today. I actually did see this fair value gap. But what did I expect? So I seen the bad news. So no, I'm kind of all over the place with all this news. Okay, let me just come to it. Okay, so China said we may be moving faster than I thought. They came with okay, Treasury Secretary that the U.S. South. Okay, however, while negotiations with South Korea progressed, the U.S. and China continue to be at odds after China rebuffed U.S. trade over overtures Thursday, demanding all tariffs be lifted and denying any progress in talks. Okay, so that is the news that I had seen come out. Excuse me. So I did expect a little bit of the downtrend or some kind of down move, but we didn't have that at all, right? And then Trump came out today and said he denies China's statement about no trade talks with U.S. Says they met this morning. right? So that is kind of just uncertainty. We know the market doesn't like uncertainty, so I was kind of expecting some type of down move. And so while I was looking at the markets, because I was looking at the markets in the morning, like about 8 to 9:30, but after that, that's when I started working on other things. So that's when I kind of stepped a little bit away. I was still watching it, but I wasn't really like focused and locked into it and willing to take a risk because I was doing other things. Like I said, I was working on my car, right? And so I did see this fair value gap, but while I was looking at the markets, what did I want to see? Well, I seen that we started at this support, but I didn't have no type of fill, right? They gave me no type of pullback, no type of pullback into my fair value because this is what I was looking at. This is exactly what I was looking at. I wanted this to get a pullback to. I wanted them to give me some type of pullback into right here, right? But what did we do? We just bounced off this support and just pumped all the way through. Excuse me, good people. And then when we broke through this area of resistance, why was this area of resistance? Because we could see this is where this range was, right? When we broke through this area of resistance, I was like, okay, well, I do have a fair value gap right here and a fair value gap right here because technically we were still in the downtrend because all we did was continue yesterday. We continued yesterday's move and we continued in this range. We bounced out of this range, but I was like, okay. And I marked out this fair value gap and this fair value gap, and that's really what I was looking for, some type of reversal at. We got no type of reversal, right? No type of reversal. It just continued the uptrend. When it continued the uptrend, I seen right here, and I seen this pull back into my fair value gap, right? And I'm gonna show you exactly what I was looking at right there, right? So this was an A plus setup right here. Well, not A plus, but it was a really, really good setup, right? Because I'm telling you, I was looking at this so heavily, and I wanted to get in, but like I said, I was a little busy, so I didn't really want to take that risk, right? So what did Price do? Price gave this pullback and wick into this fair value gap, right? But what did Price come down and do? And I'm telling you, I was looking at it, whenever I seen Price coming down right here, what did it do? It swept this fair value gap, swept this retracement to tap this fair value gap right here. Right? You see what I'm saying? Let me delete that one. Tap that fair value gap right there in my 1 minute. And that was, I seen it happening. I was thinking like that was a really good setup, but didn't take the risk. And that's what happens when you don't take the risk. Because look, 541, it's just way all the way up to 543, right? But like I said, I was looking at that, but at the same time, I still did bias this move. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100. I did bias the seller move. So as we did have that pump, we were also so far up the move. I was still iffy on it because what we were up from 535 to 543, so I was still kind of iffy on that. And then I did want to see price react off of these fair value gaps, but obviously it broke through that fair value gap, and then it just continued the trend, right? So that would have been a good move, but didn't take it. Like I said, I was a little busy, but I did see the move happening, but I didn't take it. You know what I'm saying? And so, why did we have this pump? Like I said, we had blowout earnings, really good earnings, optimism into the market, and then the jobless claims could also be feeding into it, right? And then also on top, we're just getting so much. We're getting closer to a deal. Trump has also added some optimism into the market, but at the same time, we still do have uncertainty. But at the same time, it's like after all the uncertainty, saying tariffs on this, tariffs on that. After all the uncertainty, the market starts to become immune to everything, right? And so eventually, they start to like not really care on that. They're starting not even to care about the tariffs, right? We're not gonna just continue, we're not gonna just blow out of the water, right? You know what I'm saying? We're still pretty far down from all-time highs, right? We're not just gonna blow out of the water yet, but we are starting to get these moves, and we are starting to try to pump up, you know what I'm saying? Because we're just kind of getting immune to it, right? So right now we're still down 10% from all-time highs, so we're still in correction territory, right? And so we didn't have a trade today. We're not worried about it, right? because the market is gonna be open tomorrow, right? But if I would have seen some type of reaction, if I would have seen a reaction off of these fair value gaps, these seller fair value gaps, and a change of character in my 1 minute time frame, oh yeah, I would have had a really good trade. But since it blew past that, and then it was already so far up, I didn't want to take that fair value gap. And then on the rest of the day, well, during this fair value gap, I was working on other stuff, and so, but also we were so far off the move, I was like, nah, I'm not even gonna take that chance, right? But I was really biasing off these fair value gaps, so I did want to see some type of change of character off of that and reaction off of that, right? Didn't get it, and so you know what I'm saying. We're not mad at it, you know. We just keep looking at the day, keep looking throughout the day, keep learning, keep studying, and see what's going on, right? And so tomorrow, where are we? Let me pull it up on my phone. Sorry, my good people. Let me just pull up my Robinhood just to make sure that, yeah, we're already at 549. The QQQ is at is at 470. QQQ is at 470. The SPY is at 549. But guess what, my good people? What are our investments at? Our investments are in the green. Why? Or yeah, why? Because look, what did I tell you? I'm in Meta. Where did I tell you my Meta price was at? My average Meta price is at? We are way down here. And this is why you want to buy in the red so you can have these green moves. Because what is my average price? 498. That's what it was when I told you guys, right? I bought some more Meta, so now my average price is 511. So now my average price is right around here, right? And we could, I'm gonna get into that, but I could see us pulling back, right? Tomorrow I can see us pulling back, and we could possibly trying to clean up this gap, but that is a far move. I'm not gonna say not, but that would be erasing the whole move from from today and yesterday. So we might not come clean this gap, but I can see some type of pullback, okay? But I'm up overall 8% in my meta position. I'm up 8%. In Tesla, what was my average cost? I told you last time. I told you guys my average cost last time was at 239. Now it's at 244 because I bought a little bit more, and now I'm up 8% in Tesla. My Nvidia came past my average cost. Remember my average cost was 107. Well, now Nvidia is at 108. So I'm actually up 0.61%, right? And Nvidia is my biggest holder right now. And so we're feeling very good about those, right? But we're not going to go all in yet because we're not completely out of the woods, right? We're not completely out of the woods. We still have this uncertainty. Trump denies China's statement because what did China say? China said that there was no progress in talks and he's demanding all tariffs be lifted. Trump has not lifted all that. He said he's not lifting the tariffs. He said he will substantially lower them, but he is not lifting the tariffs. So we are still in this, we're still in this little battle, you know what I'm saying? So we could potentially, because you never know what's going to go on. Man, just showing all my info right there, huh? So we're still not out of the woods, right? So that's why we don't want to be going all in yet because we could still potentially see some, not potentially, we will see some red days, right? But we could potentially see a big drop. You never know what's going to go on, right? So we still got to move cautiously because we are not completely out of the woods, right? So still, that's what I'm doing. I DCA'd a little bit into today, but on the red days, that's when I was buying even heavier, right? But on these days like today, I bought a little bit, right? Because we're pumping hard, so I don't want to buy too much, right? Because you're not going to get as much bang for your buck. But at the same time, I don't want to miss the move, right? So I bought a little bit into my companies that I like, but I'm not going heavy in because you want to go heavier in on the red days, right? You want to go heavier in on the discounts, right? Overall, we were at discounts, right? Overall, Meta is down from $780, right? Let me just pull it up so y'all don't think I'm just guessing prices. Overall, Meta $740. So overall Meta, we are still down 27%, right? That is huge. Overall in Meta, we're still down 27%. So overall, you're still getting discounts, but we want to buy in the red because that's even a bigger discount, right? Tesla, we're still down over 50%. 46% now, right? And actually, Tesla is at like 263 right now, or 265. But we're still down 46% in Tesla. Nvidia. Nvidia, we are still down 30%, right? So that means whatever money you put into Nvidia, when it reaches the hot, I don't even know what I was about to say. Whatever money you put into Nvidia, whenever it reaches its highs, and it's gonna go past its highs, right? It doesn't go just to its highs. The market creates higher highs, right? So we know the market is going to create higher highs, so you're going to get 30% on whatever money you put in. If you put $1, you're going to get 30 cents. If you put in $100, you're going to get $30 or $33, right? Oh, no, you'll get about $30, whatever, 30%, right? If you put in $200, you'll get 30% of that. I don't know. If you put in if you put in $1,000, what is 30% of $1,000? About $300, right? $333, whatever it is. So you see what I'm saying? On that return to the all-time highs, right? So it's all about the percentage points, right? We know that, and so that's why we DCA into our positions when it's red and low on days like this, right? Because if you could have got Nvidia at 88. Look at this. That's why you want to buy at these low levels. Low levels. You don't want to buy up here. You look. You don't want to buy up here. You don't want to buy in this area, right? You don't want to buy at this square. Why? Because you're only down from the highs of 9%. So you're only getting 9% on your money, but then you're also getting potential moves like this. You're getting these down. But if you buy down here, the market can, do whatever, but when you're buying at lows like this, when you're buying at them COVID levels, you see what I'm saying? During COVID, I'm not going to go all the way back, but when you buy at lows like this during this 2022, oh, that's 2024, during this 2022 bear market, right? During the 2022 bear market, when you're buying at lows like this, when you're buying at lows like this, lows like this, lows like this, you're at a good place, right? Because look at this. If you would have bought it at $80, that means you're getting 43% on your money when it reaches its highs, and then you know it's going to create higher highs, right? So that is what investing is about. Buying on the red days so you can enjoy the green days. You don't want to buy so heavy on the green days because it's already running, right? You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, overall right now, even if we have green days, we're still so far down. So it's still not bad to be DCAing. But whenever you see the red days, do not veer away from those. See those as opportunities, right? And so what do you think I do whenever I win trades? Oh, I go invest it. I go put it back into the market, right? I don't just take it so I can go buy a new pair of shoes. No, I go put it into my favorite investments. I see it as, oh, I got some free money. Oh, I got a free $155 yesterday. Okay, let me put that into my Nvidia. Let me put that into my Meta. Let me put that into my Tesla. You see what I'm saying? And so, pre-markets, we were up to 103 or 0.75% on the Nvidia and Tesla and stuff like that. And I probably should have pulled up Google Finance. I will have that, like, to show you the actual S&P and stuff. I will start showing you that. I wasn't too prepared today. Sorry about that, my good people. That's on me. I will start pulling up my Google Finance so you can see the overall percentage gain of what we ran up today, okay? But you can see Tesla, market opened. It was up 3.5%, up to 259 Tesla. And Nvidia up to 106. And then after hours, Look at that. Google up 4.6% because we had the earnings after hours. So that's why we could potentially see another move higher tomorrow. But then also I could see a pullback because we ran up so heavy tomorrow. I mean, so heavy. We ran up so heavy today, right? And what did I tell you? On the on I think about 2 days ago, I said I could potentially see a pullback, right? Let me pull this up. Remember, a couple days ago, I'm not sure when it was. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday when I came out the video, right? We had this big run up and we were at the 534 actually. But then after market opened, we were all the way up at this 539 and we pumped up, but we ended up having this pullback, right? And remember, I said we could see that happening because we had such a run up. And what did it do? It filled the encroachment. What is encroachment? 50% of a fair value gap. And that's all this gapper is. It pulled 50% into this gapper, right? As you can see, that's perfect. That is perfect. So what can I see tomorrow? We could potentially try to break high because we're already at this 548 for the SPY. So we're already sitting above this resistance. So that's perfect. That is perfect, right? If we're sitting at this 548, we're either going to hold it and continue up, or we're going to, what are we doing? Come on, man. So we can either hold it and potentially move up, or we can try to bounce up, but then end up breaking through, right? And the bounce up, probably get a little bounce before getting us like a little breaker block formation, right? Man, sorry about that, my good people. For getting like a little breaker block formation and continue back down, trying to give like a little pullback, right? So that's what I can see tomorrow. If we're opening right up at here, we can see a bounce up, run up, and I know you're saying, Devin, basically you're saying the market can go either up or down, but we have these levels right here, so that gives us an even clearer advantage. Why do I have this level right here? Because this was the area of resistance, as we see. Boom, boom. You see, this was the area of resistance. Then we have this area of support right here. Why? Because this is where price tried to hold it. This is where we had an area of resistance. This is where price tried to hold it. You see, this is where price bumped up at. So you see what I'm saying? We have buyers right here, buyers right here, buyers right here, and it was an area of resistance as well. So this is a level, right? So you see where I have these levels. And so I know you're saying, Devin, you're saying the market can go up or down. Yes, because that is true. The market can go up or down. But we have these levels right here. So it gives us an even easier representation on where we can see price going to and how we can get in, right? Because if I see price respect this level, sorry about that, my good people. If I see price respect this level and want to bounce off of it and run up, I'm going to run up with it, okay? But if I see price try to bounce up and not give no power, bounce up, not give no power, and then break through that level and come back and test my resistance and my fair value gap somewhere, we could get that pullback, right? So I could see a pullback happening tomorrow because we have such a run up again. But at the same time, we could possibly have a pump because of these big earnings and optimism, okay? But we're going to be watching the news to see what Trump and China are saying before the markets come out, and tomorrow will be a good day, okay? So I hope everybody got everything I was saying. Pretty good jobless claims, right? That's pretty good. 222K consensus, but not too high from the previous, right? And remember, a little bit higher jobless can be kind of good because inflation down, that means rate cuts are coming, right? So that can be pretty good. We had really good Google earnings, and that is very good for the big tech stocks, for the Magnificent Seven, Tesla, Nvidia, Meta, Google. I said Tesla, Google, Nvidia, Meta. Jesus, man. There's some other ones. I mean, the other three Magnificent Seven. Okay. Yeah, man, I can't think of the Magnificent Seven, but I know those are the four, right? Apple. There we go. Apple is one. Apple. And there's two I'm missing. Two I'm missing, okay? But it's not too important, right? But this is very good for the overall markets, right? Knowing that these companies are still making money and that the AI race is still dominating, okay? So that is very good for the market. So that's why we could potentially see a pump. But we know Trump is going to move these markets. Ultimately, we know Trump moves these markets. So still got to pay attention to what he's saying, okay? And then, yeah, just exit that out. So we are going to see what's going on tomorrow. Do we have earnings tomorrow? Let's see. Nope, no earnings tomorrow, right? So no earnings tomorrow. Do we have any data tomorrow? So I'm just going over this with you guys. So we have no earnings tomorrow. Do we have any data? We don't really have any data coming out, right? So this is gonna be basically just seeing what we do. We have the data at the end of market close, so we can see if we carry that good data into tomorrow's pump, making tomorrow pump, or if we're gonna see like a little pullback. And Fridays, recently, these Fridays have been kind of a dump day because the market doesn't really trust leaving their money in over the weekend because we never know what Trump is going to say, okay? But we're gonna remember tomorrow, regardless of the news, good or bad, we're gonna follow price action, right? We're gonna follow price action. We're gonna, if we gap up a little bit above this resistance, it is gonna turn into support if it wants to hold. If it wants to break through and use it as resistance again, we're gonna write it down, okay? So I don't want to make this too long for you guys. Tomorrow I will be showing up for you guys. We will have a winning trade. We will be trading, and I'm already knowing we are gonna kill it and we are gonna crush it to end our Friday. And right, so far we're up at $130 on the week, right? Tomorrow let's finish that strong and let's make it. Our weekly goal is always $1,000. Our $1,000 weekly goal. We haven't been hitting that weekly goal, but it's let's at least finish this week. Well, we have one more day, so we might hit that 1,000, right? But let's at least finish this week green, right? Let's finish this week with a winning trade, and let's at least finish this week with a winning week, right? A green week, right? So hope all you guys are making money with me as well. Hope all you guys are learning with me as well. Please drop any ideas on any other videos y'all want me to make. I love doing these recaps, going over the markets. But please drop a comment below if you want any like specific details for me to go in. I already have a little bit of ideas of what I want to make a video on, of like specifically how to invest and like good ways to invest. But because that was one suggestion I had for me, and I love the suggestions because it tells me what you guys want to see and what you guys want to learn from me, okay? And so remember to study so you know what you're looking at in the market. Remember, have discipline. Remember, have risk management. Follow your strategy. And if you do those things, you will be successful in trading, okay? Remember to study so you're not gambling in the markets, okay? Remember, I love every single one of y'all who are with me on this journey. Truly, all of y'all are appreciated. I really do enjoy doing this. I really do enjoy doing this. Even though I didn't have a trade today, I just enjoy going and making a video and actually going over the markets and saying what I seen and what I feel pump the markets or dump the markets, and what Trump said and what the earnings are and the economic calendar and what's going on in the markets. I love doing this, and I love showing up daily for you guys, okay? So I really appreciate y'all. And remember, guys, stay persistent, passionate. Make sure y'all get paid, all right? Peace.